South Korea has had enough. President Yoon Suk-yeol recently issued a stark warning. If tensions continue to escalate, South Korea is prepared to send lethal weapons and military support to Ukraine. This bold move comes after Vladimir Putin decided to involve North Korean soldiers in the war, a risky gamble that could become one of his biggest missteps. South Korea, long cautious about choosing sides in major conflicts, seems ready to break with tradition. Could this be the turning point that draws the Korean Peninsula and Russia into direct conflict? Today, we explore South Korea's changing stance, the consequences of North Korea's growing alignment with Russia, and how this escalating tension could alter the balance of power in Northeast Asia and beyond. When Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, it sent shockwaves across the globe. For South Korea, a country already navigating the ever-present threat of North Korea, this new crisis demanded careful calculation. Initially, South Korea joined international efforts to condemn Russia's aggression. Seoul offered humanitarian aid to Ukraine, but stopped short of sending lethal military support. The reasoning was clear. Antagonizing Russia could have unintended consequences at home, with North Korea right on its doorstep, and no peace treaty formally ending the Korean War. Every move South Korea makes on the global stage carries enormous weight. For decades, South Korea has walked a fine line, maintaining strong ties with the United States while avoiding actions that could provoke Russia. After all, Moscow has historically been a key ally of Pyongyang, and any shift in South Korea's foreign policy could risk upsetting this fragile balance. But things are changing. President Yoon's recent actions signal a dramatic shift. The once neutral stance is no longer viable, and South Korea appears ready to make tough decisions that could alter its place in the geopolitical landscape. Now, to complete our narrative, allow me to turn to the unprecedented history of the current administration of President Yoon. President Yoon has been busy. Over the past month, he has reached out to allies and partners to formulate a response to the growing threats posed by North Korea and its alliance with Russia. On October 21st, 2024, Yoon met with Polish President Andrzej Duda in Seoul. The two leaders discussed ramping up defense cooperation, with Yoon hinting at the possibility of sending weapons to Ukraine if North Korea continues its provocations. This partnership is significant. Poland, one of Ukraine's strongest supporters, has been a leader in supplying military aid to Kyiv. By aligning with Poland, South Korea is sending a clear message. It's ready to step up its involvement. Just days later, on October 29, Yoon had a call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. They discussed intelligence sharing and potential collaborations to counter the growing presence of North Korean soldiers in Ukraine. South Korea's decades of experience dealing with Pyongyang give it a unique advantage. Seoul understands North Korea's tactics, strategies, and battlefield mindset better than almost any other country. For Ukraine, this collaboration could be a game changer. For South Korea, it's an opportunity to gain valuable intelligence on North Korean operations, a benefit that could prove crucial if tensions on the Korean Peninsula escalate further. President Yoon's outreach didn't stop there. He also held discussions with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, signaling a desire to strengthen ties with the alliance. While South Korea isn't a NATO member, it recognizes the importance of aligning with the group in the face of shared threats. Yoon has proposed sending delegations to NATO headquarters in Brussels to share intelligence on North Korea's activities and explore opportunities for deeper collaboration in defense and security. For South Korea, this is more than just lending a hand. It's about building a strategic bridge with NATO that could prove essential in the long term. The inclusion of North Korean troops in Russia's war effort has made it clear that this conflict is no longer confined to Europe. It's becoming a global issue, with ripple effects reaching as far as Northeast Asia. Despite Yoon's willingness to provide military aid, South Korea faces a significant roadblock: its laws. The country's Foreign Trade Act prohibits the export of weapons to active conflict zones, a regulation that has so far prevented Seoul from sending lethal aid to Ukraine. However, Yoon seems determined to find a way around this restriction. His administration is reportedly exploring phased approaches that would allow South Korea to adjust its level of support based on North Korea's involvement in the war. If these restrictions are loosened, it could mark a major turning point. South Korea has some of the most advanced military technology in the world, and its entry into the arms supply chain could significantly bolster Ukraine's defenses. But why has it taken South Korea so long to even consider this move? The answer lies in the delicate balance of power on the Korean Peninsula. South Korea's caution is deeply rooted in its unique geopolitical situation. Technically, the Korean War never ended. The 1953 armistice created the heavily fortified Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, splitting the peninsula into two starkly different nations. On one side, South Korea has thrived, becoming an economic powerhouse and a key player on the global stage. On the other, North Korea has remained isolated, focusing its resources on building a massive military and stockpiling weapons. Incidents of provocation from the North are not uncommon. One of the most infamous examples occurred in 2010, when North Korea fired artillery shells at Yeonpyeong Island, killing 4 people and injuring many more. This attack, like countless others, served as a reminder of the constant threat South Korea faces. Every decision South Korea makes is influenced by this reality. The capital city, Seoul, lies just 35 miles from the DMZ, well within range of North Korean artillery. This proximity forces South Korea to weigh every action carefully, knowing that a misstep could escalate into a full-scale conflict. The war in Ukraine has underscored the devastating power of artillery. North Korea, with its massive stockpiles and production capacity, has become a crucial supplier for Russia. According to South Korean intelligence, Pyongyang has already shipped millions of artillery shells to Moscow, with the potential to produce even more if needed. This partnership is deeply concerning for South Korea. Not only does it strengthen Russia's position in Ukraine, but it also provides North Korea with economic resources and political leverage. For President Yoon, the stakes couldn't be higher. Every move North Korea makes in Ukraine could have direct consequences for the Korean Peninsula. The alliance between Russia and North Korea marks a significant shift in North Korea's balance of power. For decades, Russia maintained a neutral stance, balancing its relationships with both Koreas. But the new Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Treaty, signed in 2024, changes everything. This treaty outlines military, economic, and technological cooperation between the two nations. While it stops short of committing to unconditional support, it creates a framework for joint action in times of crisis. For South Korea, this is a nightmare scenario. The treaty not only legitimizes North Korea's actions, but also opens the door for Russian involvement in the Korean Peninsula. From an American standpoint, the growing alliance between Russia and North Korea is deeply troubling. It represents a convergence of two authoritarian regimes with shared interests in challenging Western dominance. So for the United States, supporting South Korea in this volatile environment is not just about honoring alliances. It's about safeguarding democracy and maintaining stability in the region. As South Korea considers sending lethal aid to Ukraine, the USA will undoubtedly play a key role in facilitating and supporting this shift. Together, the two nations have an opportunity to counteract the growing influence of Russia and North Korea, both in Europe and Asia. South Korea's decision to potentially send weapons to Ukraine marks a dramatic shift in its foreign policy. It's a bold move that reflects the changing dynamics of a conflict that is no longer confined to one region. As the situation evolves, one thing is clear: the alliances and decisions being made today will shape the geopolitical landscape for years to come. For more updates on global conflicts, alliances, and their implications for the United States, stay tuned to USA Affairs. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join the conversation and stay informed.